Hello, everybody. Happy Monday to you. Good morning, good afternoon. Looks like we've got folks joining from all over the place, as usual, which is amazing. I'll say hello to Holly is here from a foggy Pacific Northwest. Celeste is here. I thought Celeste wasn't going to be able to make it, so I'm so glad to see you here, Celeste. Anna, we've got Cece and Marcel, Anka, Anne, Kathy. So good to see you all checking in and saying hello. So welcome to this month's Creative Manifesto session here on YouTube. For anyone that has not joined us before, the point of this session, and we do it once a month, is to set aside a few moments to think about what the things are that you want to improve on for this month, or the things that you want to explore, or the things that you want to get better at. We've also got Gina and Joy and Andrea checking in, which is great. And Catherine, excellent. So the point of this, like I said, is to spend some time thinking about the things that you want to accomplish creatively this month. And there's a few different ways to think about this, and I'm actually just going to share a few examples with you of creative manifestos from previous months and current months that people have shared with us in the schoolyard. But there's a few different ways that you can approach this. So one way to think about a creative manifesto is almost like a creative to-do list for the month ahead. So whether it's projects that you want to finish, or lessons that you want to explore, or maybe a technique that you really want to master. That's one way to go about it. Another way is to just think of a theme or a word that will guide you for the next month. So whether that's a quote or something that you just want to focus on for the next few weeks, sometimes it can be nice to put that down on paper. And thank you, Gina, for complimenting my glasses. But yeah, so it's really a good way to just think about the things that you want to keep in mind in your sketchbook and in your life over the next few weeks. So I want to show you a few examples, and then we'll actually spend a few minutes together making our own creative manifesto. So I would love, if you don't have it handy, to grab a sketchbook and a pen, or whatever you're currently using these days to make your art. But you want to put it down on paper, because the point of this is good old-fashioned putting pen to paper or pencil and getting our thoughts out that way. And I think that even though we do a lot of things digitally these days, and I'll ask you to share these images later digitally, it's really good to write things down. I still keep a paper calendar. I still like writing things down in my sketchbook. And I hope that you all can kind of share that with me. But I want to share a couple examples just so you kind of have an idea of how people set up these creative manifestos when they do them in their sketchbooks. So this is one from Linda, and she actually did this on the first page of a new sketchbook. And she kind of asks herself a few questions and also just gives herself kind of some assignments or reminders. So that's one way to do it. And another student, Anne, who's actually here, she shared this with us last month. This was kind of her focus. So she picked one word and kind of made that her theme for the month. And I just love how she illustrated this word and used really fun lettering. So Anne focused on cleaning for the past month, which is great and could apply to multiple areas of your life, not just your sketchbook. And another student, Gail, she did it pretty straightforward kind of list, like a to-do list. And she added some little illustrations, but she really just gave herself some goals and tangible things that she wanted to accomplish. And that's a great way to do this. So it's something that's easy to track, and you can cross things off as you accomplish them. Another student, Holly, she did this really beautifully lettered art goals list, and she drew her art supplies all around it. And I love how this turned out. I think it's a beautiful drawing in its own right, but it's a great little kind of reminder to herself and list of things that she wants to accomplish. Gina, who's also here with us today, also made a checklist, and she actually drew boxes that she can cross off. And I don't know about you, but I think it's so satisfying to put a check mark through something that you have accomplished. So I think, Gina, it'll be really satisfying to kind of make your way through this list. So that was the list that Gina used for the month of September. Just sharing that as an example. Another student, Karen, also kind of gave herself a few mantras. So you can think about this kind of as a quote or a theme to focus on. So not necessarily a strict to-do list, but just some reminders of things that you want to keep in mind. And that's what Karen did here. And she added some really cool drawings along the bottom and some really fun lettering. So that's another way to handle it. And another student, Lydia, also kind of picked a focus word. And she sort of put that down and also gave herself a to-do list. And I just love her fun, funky lettering here for moving into a new month. So these are just some examples, and Susan's asking if this will be available. Yes, you can catch the recording of this on YouTube on our channel if you missed the beginning. And for anyone that's just hopping in and joining us, today we're talking about creative goals for the month of October. And I've just shared some examples with you about how to set this up. But for your Creative Manifesto, here in a minute, I'm going to set a timer. We're going to spend some time thinking about what are the things that you want to accomplish in the month of October. And we try to do these sessions on the first Monday of the month, as long as the calendar allows. And what I want you to do right now is take out a pen or a pencil, something to write with, and a sketchbook. For some of you, you can do this on a Post-it note or something that you actually hang above your desk as a reminder. You could do it that way, but for others and for myself, I love putting these in a sketchbook, and I love turning to a random page and putting this reminder to myself. And then a few weeks later, after I've done a bunch of drawings, I'll find that reminder, and usually it's just a good little surprise to turn to. Or you can do it on the next page of your sketchbook. So we have lots of options here. You can kind of choose your own adventure, but grab something to write with and something to write on. And I'm actually going to put up a timer here. And I want you to think about this in terms of either a to-do list for yourself for the month of October, or a theme, or kind of a mantra, or a quote that you really like. So you can choose any of these approaches, but I want you to put it down on paper. It's something very tactile and kind of an analog way of keeping track of things, which I love. So grab a pen and your sketchbook, or a piece of paper if you're not working in a sketchbook. And I want you to either turn to the next page or turn to a random page that's maybe like 20 pages from now, that maybe it'll surprise you in a few weeks. Whichever approach you want to take, I want you to get that pen out and something to write on. And I'm going to set up a little timer here, and I'm going to hit start. And I hope that all of you that are here with me right now have something to write with and are ready to write. I think it's a good way to start off the month and a good way to start off the week. To think ahead and think about what you want to accomplish. And one other note, I don't want this to be stressful, or I don't want this to be about this long chore list that you don't quite get to all of the items on it. This is more about just setting a focus and an intention for the month of October. So if it helps you to think of it that way, that could be a little less pressure, low stress, but something that'll still give you some direction and some guidance for the month. And thank you, Joy. My yellow nail polish and my pen, I just realized these are quite similar. I kind of switched to fall colors on my nails. Who knew it would match? But thank you for pointing that out, Joy. But I am going to start our timer. So if you're here with me and you've got something to write with and something to write on, I would love for you to do this exercise. We've got 4 minutes to do it. And what I want you to do is I just want you to spend these 4 minutes thinking about what it is, and I just hit start, that you want to accomplish this month. So like I said before, this can be a to-do list. This can be a quote or just a goal that you have, or a theme word. And as you saw from the examples, people interpret this in all sorts of different ways. But I am going to handle it for myself here, just with a little mantra on the page. And you can go back to these and add really fun lettering. I know 4 minutes is not a lot of time, but you can revisit this and add color. You can embellish it, or it can just be words on the page. It's totally up to you. But I just want you to take this time to really think about what it is that you want to accomplish in the next month. And I also want you to think about, these don't have to just be things that have to do with art or your creative journey. These could be broader philosophies that kind of guide you in your life. So whether that's letting go of things or cleaning, like Anne had in her example, Just something that you want to kind of focus on. If you don't want to make a nitty-gritty to-do list of projects to accomplish, you can think of it as just a philosophy to kind of guide you with for the month of October. So it's totally up to you how you think about it. And if I keep jabbering, I'm probably going to start writing what I'm saying to all of you, and that's not very helpful in my sketchbook. But I think for me, I'm going to pick a theme, kind of a mantra, for my manifesto, because I've got plenty of to-do lists for sketchbook school and for work and in other areas of my life. So for me personally, I don't think I need any more boxes to check, because I have a lot of boxes in my life to check right now. So I'm just going to set an intention and think about a theme or a goal, just one singular focus, because I think for me that's a little easier to kind of wrap my brain around, you know? So I hope that those of you that are here with me right now have your pens to paper and are just doing some reflecting. And I hope that at the end of this you'll share, some of the goals you came up with in the chat. And I also hope that we'll see your image in the schoolyard. So we have a topic for Creative Manifestos, and I love sharing these examples every month when I do these sessions. But I would love to see your Creative Manifesto page if you want to share it. And definitely share it in the schoolyard if you get a chance. And we've got about a minute and some change left. And I'm just going to kind of top this off a little bit. Let's see. Just going to add a little note to myself. And finish that up. And I hope that those of you that are here are finishing up your creative goals. And if you just joined me, just hopped in, you can catch the recording on YouTube and see what you missed. And do this exercise. You can do this anytime. You can do it on your own time. And you can just take that time for yourself, do a little brainstorming, reflect, on what you want to accomplish in the month of October. So it's okay if you don't catch us for the live version. You can do this exercise anytime and on your own. But definitely share it with us, whether it's in the schoolyard or the comments on this video. Celeste looks like she's hopping out. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you around. And it looks like we've got some of you sharing what you're going to be focusing on in the chat, which I love. Feel free to tell us, because our timer was just up. Feel free to tell us what are some of the things that you want to be focusing on. So Stacy wants to surrender to the art projects. So I like that. Kind of giving herself up to just focusing on art projects and being creative. For me personally, I am starting a new sketchbook soon. So I probably have like 3 or 4 pages left in my current sketchbook. So I'm starting this little tiny one, and I never work this small. The thought of it kind of freaks me out, but it's really nice paper. So mine is to, you can't see that, think small, but don't sweat the small stuff. So get better at just drawing quickly, even if it's a tiny little drawing, but not freaking out if I can't get everything on the page. And I think that has some parallels for my life, not freaking out about being able to fit everything into my schedule, because I kind of get, into overachiever mode. So let's see what else we've got here. So Gina I like Gina's quote about confidence. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Yes, I love that, about being confident about your art and about what you're doing. Looks like Anna is going to focus on Halloween decorations, which is a great month to do that. Joy's focus is there's no talent without consistent practice, which is true. And we believe that here at Sketchbook School. Consistent daily mess making, what I like to refer to, is what leads to really developing your skills. We've got Margaret with a quote that she's focusing on from Kurt Vonnegut about practice. So seeing a lot of stuff about practice and consistency. And I think Kurt Vonnegut, if anyone knows about being consistent and just sticking with it, I think creative writers are definitely in that camp of people with that experience. Thanks for sharing that, Margaret. Andrea wants to focus on realistic drawing, botanical line drawings for D. Sounds really cool. Some nice botanical themes happening as we change seasons, at least here in the United States. Artistic exploration, identify a project and focus. Corinne really wants to focus on focusing, which is good. Karen has an opportunity to optimize, or opportunity optimize in October. So lots of O's, some alliteration there. Annie wants to focus on more peace and joy during the busyness, which I think is good. I think in the fall we kind of slip into holiday mode and it's easy to just get caught up in back to school and planning everything. Holly is going to focus on Inktober, moving from analog to digital and slowing down. And I think slowing down could apply to lots of areas of your life, so that's great. Jan is focusing on Inktober. We have a lot of people focusing on Inktober, which is great. Reorganizing art space and adding lighting. Yes, so making your creative space a fun place to work. I think that will definitely lead to more creative projects. Kathy had asked about my pen. It's just a Lamy Safari fountain pen, and I love getting the different colored ink cartridges you can get now for those. I just use black, but I do have a bunch of other colors ready to load. So the fountain pen, the Lamy Safari, is one of my favorites. Cece is starting a drawing journal and prepping for November writing month and sewing couch cushion covers. So like a fun house project. That sounds great. Andrea wants to stick to drawing and live streams, which is cool, joining us for events, which we love to see. Doris is focusing on self-care, and Regina is focusing on negative painting and letting go of anxiety. And I think we can all benefit from that right now, since there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that can be anxiety-inducing. So I think taking that time to just take a breather and try not to be so anxious. Obviously, it's easier said than done, but I think with our creative activities, we can sort of chip away at that goal, right? We can do that together. And it looks like you guys have so many awesome things that you're focusing on, and I really appreciate you all joining me and sharing these. And I can't wait to see your Creative Manifesto drawings or pages in the schoolyard if you share them with us there. There's a topic for Creative Manifestos. And I really hope that you all have an awesome month and can kind of move forward and start chipping away at these ideas and these lists that you've made for yourselves. And just keep reminding yourselves of these themes and these focus words that we've assigned ourselves. I think it's great to give yourself a little direction. I think that's how we grow, is by setting goals and either accomplishing them or maybe not accomplishing them and then figuring out why or how that happened. I think it's all a good learning process. So I appreciate all of you joining me as we embark on this together, and I hope that you have a great rest of your week and a great rest of your month, and that we see you back here on the first Monday of the following month, and we can kind of check back in on these. So take care and stay motivated, and thanks again for joining us. Have a great week.